and really just try to further our casting careers by casting something even semi-relevant. So
Hmm.
we're going to go ahead and do that for you guys today. As you can see, we have the YouTube video pulled up, so we're going to probably do a little bit of a countdown, and then we'll get right to it. But before we get into all that, Saved, how's life?
Yep.
Tell me how you doing, because you know what, introduce
Yeah.
yourself a little bit. Tell these people where you come from.
All right. So my online name is TheSavedOne. My real name is Daniel. I'm currently in radio broadcasting at Loyalist College in Ontario. Um, I took a little bit of a break from casting just to get my, I guess, just kind of like cool down a bit, just relax. But I've been feeling it. I've been feeling it recently, and I wanted to get back into casting, but now's the opportunity. So here I am, and I'm joining you, dude.
Yeah, and for those who don't know who I am Stretch. I've been playing League of Legends for a long time, probably since like a little bit before season one. I've been around the block, man. But
Hmm.
the thing that stays true about this game is that there's a lot of complexity and interesting things that go on, and that keeps me reeled in. And
Yep.
as a result, I have a lot of things to add here. But why don't we go ahead and get into these games?
Sure.
So let's do a countdown on
Alrighty.
three, one, two, three. And we're going to be starting
Ooh.
off the day with
Ooh.
the matchup between, I think, Team Cloud versus Team Mountain. Game number
Yes.
one. I,
Yes.
I think that's correct.
That is correct.
So just a rollout to these teams here. As you can see, we're
Hmm.
going to be using the 5 band system, snake
Hmm.
draft, as they do in pro play. That way, these players, while they're working with these pro teams that are looking at them, trying to discern how much talent they have, how worth they would be to have on their squads, they can get that real experience of drafting like they do in the LCS. So getting right into it, though, band phase number one. Team Cloud going for, I think that's Team Cloud. It might just be Blue Side. We're gonna call it Blue Side until
Blue
I,
side, red side.
yeah, Blue Side, Red Side for the time being. Actually, no, it is Team Cloud. They got their names.
Yeah.
They got the tag
Cloud.
right there. So Team
Oh, it's
Cloud.
right. Yeah, it's right there.
Team
Huh.
Team Cloud going for the Sejuani and Rakan ban, and then
Mhm.
Team Mountain responding in kind with the Callista and Ornn.
And it's so interesting too because last season we saw just, I guess, kind of like the same bands every single draft. It would either be, jungle on one side, mid on the other side. It was whoever each side prioritized on the other. But now what I'm noticing is that it's all diverse, right? In the jungle top tier right now, it's Sejuani and Zin. So they ban out the Sejuani. Even in the support role, Rakan. And then you're starting to see the Azir kind of appear in the mid lane just a little bit. So Team Cloud wants to take that away from Team Mountain. But then on the other side, Ornn in the top lane, he's a lane bully as well as a tank. So you just want him out as well in the support and ADC roles. It's Callista and Taric all the way, just because Callista can throw Taric into the enemy, and it's so explosive. But we're already getting to these picks.
Yeah. For Team Cloud going ahead and picking up that J4, a nice flex pick for them, seeing that it could go both in the jungle or the top lane. And then over on Team Mountain, Rodov picking up the Tristana for their 80 carry, and Nintendo X getting that Rek'Sai locked in for the jungle role.
Yeah, real no surprise to Jarvan with the first pick. Sometimes you will see the AD or support being first picked, but if you want to just go like kind of like the old meta style comfort, and you want to I guess try and surprise the enemy a little bit, then you would pick the Jarvan first. You can flex him into the top lane, still a very good champion top lane as well as in the jungle. But then on the other side, you have the Tristana and Rek'Sai. Damage junglers are starting to come into the meta as well. So Rek'Sai has slowly crept in. At the end of last season, some Rek'Sai play was being played by a lot of the damage junglers that didn't really want to switch over to the tank role. So that's exactly what they're doing. As well as Tristana, just really no surprise, a scaling ADC with a really nice laning phase, but already more picks from Team Cloud.
Yeah, both sides getting
Yeah.
their third picks locked in here. Malzahar going to be there for Linsanity, and Wait,
Olive.
a Blaze Olive.
Yeah,
Not
that's
sure.
that's it.
Gonna be locking in the Alistar for their support. I was just like, is there supposed to be like a play on words in here? It's just a
Yeah.
All right, a Blaze Olive, I guess
Yeah.
is his name.
Yeah, it looks weird. But talking about the Zaya and the Malzahar, the reason why Linsanity is allowed to pick the Malzahar is just
Mm.
because of how top tier Malzahar is right now. And he just has so much escape potential. And mainly, it's just the mental game with the spell shield that he gets from his passive. Just because it kind of you kind of get into the mind of the enemy jungler and saying, all right, I'm Rek'Sai, I have one knockup and I can kill it with my Q, but if I miss my Q, then the only real knockup I have is my W, obviously, and that would pop the spell shield. So it's a mental game with the jungler and the mid laner, so you kind of get this pressure that's just in the champion itself, Malzahar. So he also has an amazing late game and amazing mid game. So he's just an amazing pick overall, as well as Xayah. Going back to last season, she's still absolutely amazing. Once again, she has a huge lane bully potential, as well as a scaling potential that if you actually get a kill or two onto her, then she can really become this beast of a champion.
Very true. And going into the secondary ban phase, we can see both teams trying to limit the remaining selection of the roles that have not been picked. Team Cloud taking away that Shen from the top lane that Team Mountain has not gotten for yet, as well as the Rise forcing their hand in the mid lane. And for Team Mountain, they've taken away the support role for Team Cloud, trying to limit the selection of Iron Pyrite down there, taking away the Karma and the Morgana.
Yeah, in the top lane right now, Shen, he's an absolutely perfect pick just because he's a tank and he can use his global pressure, which is amazing in competitive play. Even talking about the Rise can kill the Malzahar spell shield in just a couple of seconds if he just places a couple of E's on the wave. Then Malzahar's spell shield is no more. So Linsanity does not want to deal with that whatsoever, so they take that out. In response to that, though, Team Mountain wants to pick up that Orianna, and the main reason is because she can either play defensive or play aggressive against the Malzahar, and can also pop the spell shield with ease. So if Nintendo does want to come in with a gank, he can do that onto Linsanity. But then picks going right across onto Team Cloud. We see the Janna and the Renekton in the top lane, so this clarifies that Jarvan will be going into the jungle, which is still a fine jungle pick because he does offer a lot of damage, as well as a little bit of AoE trapping some of the enemy champions into the Cataclysm. And then even Janna, even though she got nerfed, it's not a huge nerf to the point where she's absolutely unplayable, but she does provide that really nice support that Xayah does need in lane.
Very true, and we can see the players swapping around a little bit. I actually don't know what format this video is going to be in because it looks like they're using the 5-pick or the 10-pick website. But they're swapping around like they're already in game and they've got, summoner spells on them. So maybe this is just the model that they've created for this. But talk to me about these team comps overall. What are these guys looking to do to try to force in this victory, starting off with Team Cloud?
Yeah, already looking at Team Cloud, they have a really nice damage comp and a really nice team fight too. So it's kind of interesting how Malzahar plays out in certain team fights because he can only focus on one person. But then when he does get a pick onto a carry or even just a frontline member, it's really, really nice because he has that extra armor shred, that extra MR shred, so he can just kill tanks with ease. So you're going to be seeing a lot of Malzahar ults come onto priority targets as we go later on into the game. Oh, wait, we're already going into game. So,
wait, they're realizing the mouse is on screen? Hold on, right? Oh. Wait.
Hold on. I have to remember what the team comps are. Yeah, so once again, looking at this comp a little bit more, it's a lot of damage as well. It's a lot of peel for the Xayah. So they're going to be taking these fights very slowly, but once we see an opportunity arise, that's when this team is just going to go all out. They're going to try and use all of their, utility and damage onto a couple of carries, and then that is exactly what's going to win them the fight.
Yep, and I guess we'll do some introductions for both of these squads since these are players that we don't typically see. I'll start off with Team Cloud. Up in the top lane, we've got League on Renekton. Jungle's going to be Fnatic on J4. Mid lane, you've seen him before in some of those high-level videos. Linsanity playing that Malzahar. Ashe on the AD carry playing Xayah. And Iron Pyrite on Janna playing support.
And over on the red side, we have Team Mountain. Rodov in the top lane playing Maokai. Nintendude X with his return on the Rec side. Then we see a Blaze Olive in the mid lane on Orianna, Value playing Tristana in the ADC role, and then Winter on support playing Alistar.
And this is an opening that we see in a lot of these higher level matches, especially in competitive. They like to make sure that their jungler has a good, decent start. Iron Pyrite getting a little bit of harass onto Winter, maybe forcing a recall there. I'm not sure that he really needs to go through with that there, but really just making sure that no deep vision occurs so they can really keep secret where their jungler is starting.
And it's so interesting too, because usually in the amateur style play, as well as even in just high level competitive, in like worlds and stuff, we will see a 5-point start, but they won't get aggressive with it. But what Team Mountain just did there is they wanted to go beyond enemy lines. They wanted to see who exactly is sitting on the other side of this bush, and we saw that coming out of the Alistar and the Tristana going with the Alistar. They got some deep words for that, so they're very happy with their outcome, and we already see Nintendo starting Raptors.
Yeah, Raptor start suggesting he's going to go for that red buff and maybe look for some pressure bottom lane. He wants to get there when Alistar is level 2 so they can set up a gank with that, but that really suggests that they want to put a lot of pressure down in this bottom side of the map.
Yeah, and not in bot lane specifically, but you can also do that in the mid lane, and that's exactly why they chose the Orianna, because you can launch your ball or even an auto attack onto Malzahar, take away his spell shield, and then Rek'Sai can E over the Raptor wall, even over on the blue side Raptor wall, and already some humongous damage going down onto Malzahar.
Yeah, Blaze Olive doing a fantastic job of pushing Linsanity back in that lane. Malzahar really known for his shoving potential, but it's not going to be good enough right now. Top lane Fnatic looking to see if he can find the kill on this Maokai. Flash forward from Renekton League, trying to get this last hit in there. Will he find it? They're not going to get the kill at all, as Rodov just saunters his way back to safety. Nintendude was in the area to respond, but it looks like he's got a window where not only is J4 a little bit weak, but he may be able to find an invade on the lower side of the map.
It was so close going down onto Maokai's health bar. Nintendo's trying to find kind of a recovery play from the little bit of waste of time in the top lane. He was ready for the counter gank, but didn't get the opportunity to actually do anything. Even though Maokai's flash is down, I don't feel like at this point in the game it's that useful, unless Jarvan does want to go in for that for a dive. But you usually don't see a Renekton Jarvan dive I guess right now at the level 3 and even level 2 mark. So you can almost kind of see a little bit of an opportunity coming from Rek'Sai, because he still does have his flash. So he can pull off some ganks at some part of the map that he does want to put priority on. Or he can just stay in the jungle, play very passive, farm up for a little bit, and just try and counter gank the Jarvan whenever he can.
Yeah, very true. Passive farming going down here in the bottom lane as Value and Winter are pushed in under the turret thanks to the immense wave control that Ashe has on this Xayah pick. Very difficult to push in or contest the wave against the Xayah selection, but responding to that top lane failed gank, we saw Nintendo get the deep vision on the Raptor camp of Fnatic, and not only that, steal away that camp, a very high value camp for these junglers to have. But look at this, up in the top lane, Fnatic looking for this aggressive gank yet again, catches in Rodov. He's going to try to walk his way out of this one, but look at the damage that comes out here. Fantastic regank coming out of Fnatic.
Just a little bit of a mistake coming up from the Maokai, because what he should have done there is, since he was so far pushed up in the lane, he should have known that Jarvan wanted to come top lane once again since his flash was down. So I think what Rodolph should have done was just stay at the tower, play the role as a tank. Don't try and fight the Renekton in the early game, just because if Renekton gets even a kill in the early game, there's just so much snowballing potential that Renekton can do and just absolutely dominate the game. So I think that what Maokai should have done was just stay at the tower, just relax a little bit, and then just turn it into a tank, which he didn't do. So now Renekton does have a little bit of a lead that he is going to snowball with, but I just want to see what exactly he does with this lead. Is he going to kill the Maokai a little bit more, or is Jarvan going to just come into the top lane and just punish Maokai even more, which I think is what they're going to do.
Yeah, the early game dominance that comes out of the Renekton lead can be something that you really want to capitalize, but I want to draw our attention down to the bottom lane that we're seeing right now. Look at how well Value is doing against Ashe in the CS department. 12 farm or 11 farm lead, almost 2 waves of minions up, despite being pushed in aggressively underneath the turret very early on. These guys are really holding their own inside of this lane. We've got Fnatic taking a look at Nintendo, really wanting to get some retribution for that stolen Raptor camp from the earlier failed gank. Sees the Rek'Sai walking past the brush here, but it looks like Orianna's not in a position to collapse quite yet as Linsanity is throwing down Malefic Visions and Silence. Ward goes down for Nintendo, scouting out the J4, so he will not go down to this potential setup. And they also had the roam coming out of Cloud League up in the top lane as well, trying to really flex that strength that they have on the top side of the map.
Yeah, 2 things I want to touch on very quickly was the bottom lane CS that you were talking about. Tristana can farm very easily under tower with the help of Alistar, so that's why she's so far up in CS onto the Xayah. It looks like there could be a bottom lane dive.
Yeah, 4-man gank down to the bottom side. Alistar to tank the turret first, gets the headbutt pulverized combo, and the shockwave comes down immediately. Stun from that last auto attack comes out from Winter, and they're able to net the kill as well. Janna showing up a little bit too late, flying in on the win, but not going to get there in time to save their carry.
Yeah, and we also see a potential top lane dive coming out from Team Cloud, but what I think is going to happen here is bot lane's going to get the tower as well as a dragon if they do notice that the jungler is up here. Fnatic in the top lane.
Yep, another punish looking out here for Fnatic. This time they brought Insanity. Malefic Visions goes down. He tries to root to the Renekton, but it only just passes the money to League. And now they might be looking for first turret, but look at the amount of damage that's going down for Team Mountain on bottom lane.
Yeah, Value is just so good on this Tristana at taking towers, and he can do that with ease. They have to do it very quickly, though, and I don't think that they're going to do it before Team Cloud.
Yeah, not quite yet. Minuwave pulling up for the second run at this turret. What's this? Oh, wait, no. They actually did just... Wait, no, yeah, they got it. Topside actually wins the race there because of the delay of the minions on the bottom side of the map. Value and Winter are going to be going home with less change in their pockets than they would have liked. But they are in a position where they're strong on the bottom side of the map. If they're quick, they could pick up this Infernal, but no, instead they're just going to recall.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I think that what they should have done there was communicate between the mid laner and the jungler. Oh, mid lane.
Nethergrass thrown down on a Blaze Olive in the mid lane. Ultimate thrown down by Renekton to try to get some additional damage in here. And Nintendo trying to peel for his mid lane carry too far away from the wall. He's instead just trying to get to a position where he can tunnel over. He gets out with just a sliver of life and saves the life of a Blazed Olive.
That was so incredibly close in the mid lane. That was a really nice flash. I honestly thought it was a fail flash, and then I noticed that the tunnel was there. But going back to the previous point,
wait. Sorry. I messed up my video like I said I was going to. What time are you
at? 58, 59, 8 minutes.
Wait, on which? Oh, 8 minutes?
Yeah. 3, 4, 5, 8 minutes and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 13, 14, 15.
All right, I'm in.
Sorry. Hell yeah. All right. But yeah, going back to the last point.
What they hold on. 8 minutes in game, not 8 minutes on the YouTube timer.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Hold on.
You're killing me, dude.
15, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 15, 34, 35.
Keep going, sorry.
40, 41, 42, 15, 43, 44, 45, 46.
All right, I'm in. Sorry, dude.
Hell yeah. It's all right, dude.
All right, for those who aren't watching, for those who are watching, I use push to talk because I don't want you to hear every burp and fart that I have behind the scenes. So, God bless. But my push to talk button is the actual back button on my mouse because that's where my thumb is. It's the most convenient thing. But back, you know, my thumb's right there, so it makes the most sense to have that as my push to talk. I don't have a way to like turn that off on the browser though, so it sucks. But regardless, we're back into the game.
Yes.
Fill me in on what we missed because the stream missed some stuff.
It was just a rotation by Team Mountain from the bot lane to the top lane. So now we see Tristana farming up there with Alistar as well as Nintendo just kind of like hovering around. But no real changes other than that.
Okay. Cool. So, bot lane of Team Cloud moving up to this top lane, really just trying to clear out this wave. But there's really no turret there for them to get as they got that earlier on, but to getting the benefit of that first turret gold. I really feel like they should have kept their bottom lane on the bottom side of the map, not only to contest this Infernal, but to also try to put some more pressure down on that tower. But I guess with Team Mountain also rotating their bot lane up, they have to stay here now to try to even out that pressure.
Yeah, exactly. I think one thing that's really under prioritized now is that dragons, right? So we see the Infernal Dragon, and this is a perfect transition to my last point that I was going to bring up, is that Nintendo, what happened there was him and Orianna rotated towards the mid side of the map, because I think that Nintendo wanted to deny Jarvan of some jungle camps. But once again, what they could have done was went right for that Infernal just to kind of make up for the little bit of delay that they had getting that bottom tower so that they could have better damage scaling going into this mid part of the game. But Dragon still stands. I want to see what team goes for it next. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Team Cloud just because of the priority that Renekton does have in the bottom lane, but we're just going to have to see.
Yeah, we will definitely see. It looks like we've got a little bit of pressure being thrown down on this mid lane turret. Silence does connect onto a Blaze Olive, but not going to do nearly enough damage to deter that bit of pressure that they're throwing down there. We saw a little bit earlier there, Fnatic getting the blue buff stolen away from Nintendo to X, making sure that Orianna does not benefit from that mana regen, so they cannot pass that one over. Bottom lane looks like good ward coverage from Rodov. Protects him from a potential dive by Fnatic. Looking to once again punish that Maokai as mid lane is still under pressure by this Tristana. Explosive charge not quite stacked up like they'd like to, but value regardless. Going to try to get some damage down on that turret.
Another thing that we're noticing here in basically any of these tower takes is that any damage on a tower is very, very useful. So what we saw there was the whole... Oh, wait, engage.
Yep, headbutt pulverize as well as a shockwave landing onto Iron Pyrite. He's going to float his way right out of that one despite the ignite as well. Just keeping his life points up, using his ultimate and flash to get out of that one though.
That was so unexpected. That was out of nowhere, but a really nice flash pulverize as well as the Orianna follow-up. Really nice communication overall. But we see a Team Cloud, their top side picks heavily prioritizing this bot lane, but we do see that Alistar, and I think, yeah, Nintendo is coming down here for
Yep, 3-man gank down on the bottom side. League throws down his ultimate as well, just trying to get the AoE damage rolling. Maokai ultimate locks up Renekton in place. Knock-up connects from Nintendo, but Linsanity's gonna get the kill on Rodov to start this one off. Janna with no flash, no heal available, just kind of toying with a Blaze Olive. I'd be careful if I were you, because that Orianna still does do damage, but that being said, he doesn't have that Morellonomicon finished up quite yet, so it's going to allow Janna to escape that one fairly easily.
Nintendo looking for a play.
Yeah, looking for the flash knockup, finds it on Renekton. League still staying alive just barely, though. Nintendo actually going to flash in or actually find the kill on League. Now they're hunting down in the river. Knockup connects on Nintendo, trying to go for this chase, but he's not going to be able to close that gap fast enough.
Yeah, he did not have his tunnel up, or else he would have went over that dragon wall. You saw him try and path towards it, but then notice that his E wasn't up, so he just, you know, he wants to go back and just get this Infernal Dragon that they have been looking for. So it was basically whoever gets this dragon was decided on whoever had a better bot lane prioritization. So we saw that Team Mountain, they collected more members down there, and they just chunked all of the Team Cloud's health parts just to very, very low HP, which allowed them to take the dragon, which is really nice for, once again, their mid to late game scaling.
First dragon of the game goes down. Infernal to Team Mountain. So fantastic objective control for the Mountain players. Very, very apt, based on what their dragon type is. So yeah, gold values are really, really even here. 20.3k for both teams, roughly, as we see once again Value and Winter putting the pressure on this top lane outer turret, really trying to make sure they take this thing down.
And what this also opens up is more objective control with the Rift Herald, right? So since now they have a lot more ward control towards that top side, and also just being on red side overall, they can easily just sneak into that the Rift Herald buff, and then just take it whenever they do have prioritization in the top lane. We see League in the bot lane going for a play onto Rodov, but couldn't get anything but Iron Pyrite.
Yep, Iron Pyrite once again getting engaged on. Fantastic use of his CC there to negate that engage coming out of Winter, allowing him to walk away yet again. But Iron Pyrite needs to be very careful in his positioning, because if he keeps this up, he's just not going to have that ultimate to protect his team if a hard engage goes down.
Right, and now this is a little bit of a window for Team Mountain to do something huge, and they want to go for a mid lane objective just because they know that there can't be any type of support in the mid lane, because of course Janna can provide the shields, but without her ultimate, that's huge disengage potential. So if Team Mountain did decide to dive, they wouldn't have any real support, real healing coming out of their support.
And look at the engage potential that Team Mountain has. The headbutt pulverized combo with an Orianna shockwave stacked on top. You can have Rek'Sai come over a side wall as well if you're not doing your vision control correctly. So you've got to be a little bit nervous if you're on Team Cloud. You need to make sure that you've got that vision control really down pat. But look at both of these squads standing on top of each other's wards, looking to see if they can find picks. But they got to get some sweepers rolling here if they want to really look for these plays.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to start to see these yellow trinkets start to trade in for the, I guess, the top laner could still take the yellow ward, but if he does want to go in for a sweeper, then real objective control is going to start to play out as we go in to the 15-minute mark, because Rift Herald is huge. They have about 4 or 5 minutes just to take that still. That can really, really help crack down some of these tier 1s, especially top lane, because you see from Team Mountain that they kind of have touched the top lane tower, but not to the point where they can just straight up go up there and kill it. Unlike mid lane, where this tower is really only on like 200 HP. So you get a couple of members over here, maybe even value to place the bomb onto it, and the tower's dead.
Yeah, very true, and that's what they're going for here. Hard engage, though, onto a Blaze Olive. J4 ultimate gets thrown down, but he's able to flash out of it. Maokai ultimate coming through to lock up the rest of the squad from behind. Orianna Shockwave completely misses and opens up a window for League to chase in, but the CC from the rest of the Mountain squad's holding him in place. Good knockup from the Janet Tornado actually keeps the rest of his team safe, but Winter is forced to give his life away to allow for the disengage for the rest of Team Mountain. Fantastic play coming out of Team Cloud on this aggressive follow-up on this turret.
Yeah, we already see Team Cloud going in for this tier 1 mid tower. They want to try and get something for their 1 kill, and they're going to get it with extra tower control. Now they've cracked all of the tier 1 towers all across the map. Now they're looking for extra picks, and with those picks, they can start to crack down the tier 2s.
Very true. Want to always capitalize on the man advantage here. Nintendo looking for the kill on Ashe, but really does not want to commit that flash to a blind engage, not knowing who could be beyond the wall there. Mountain looking like he's finally going to pick up this turret as the explosive charge does the job. Nintendo already on this Rift Herald, seeing if they can't pick it up for their team, knowing that this could be the key to the lock of that top lane outer turret. They want a way to bust that thing down as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and this is a little bit of a mistake that some teams make once they get a major objective like the mid lane tier 1, and not much has happened within the last 5 minutes, is they'll start to calm down. They won't go for any objectives. They'll just go back to farming, go back to their jungle camps. But this is a huge opportunity for the other team to then capitalize on it. And you saw that in the mid lane, where Value said, all right, everyone's going back to base. I want to get a mid lane tower. He got it. Then he signaled for the rest of his team to rotate towards the Rift Herald, because no one on Team Cloud is going to go towards, because they don't have any ward control onto it. So easy 2 objectives that have been taken by Team Mountain, and that just means they're only 1K behind. It's not that much.
Yeah, doing a fantastic job of keeping that gas, keeping that pedal to the metal. League looking to see if he can't find a pick for or onto a Blaze Olive, who he knows is going to be going for this blue buff. But once again, hard engaged by Malzahar. He's locked in by the Cataclysm, pushed out by Tristana. Orianna Shockwave connects with League after the play. Flash over the wall by League trying to get out, but he's just going to walk into the clutches of the rest of the Mountain team. And now on the top side of the river, Fnatic, the only one in that situation to really survive, as Ashe was nowhere near that fight. That's going to be a hard loss here for Team Cloud. Look at this push that's about to go down.
Yeah, a 3-for-0 going into the favor of Team Mountain. They have the Rift Herald, so that means they're going to get the tier 2 in the mid lane, and maybe even the inhibitor tower or the inhibitor itself. You still have 13 on Renekton and 10 on Linsanity, so there's a huge opportunity for Team Mountain to now capitalize.
Big window right here, and just too much aggression going down for Linsanity. He wanted to pick on Nintendo, but did not have the supporting members for him there. The Xayah was up in the top lane, and he didn't have the vision on the rest of the squad either. Really trying to make that big play, but not going to quite happen this time. Not only do they lose these 2 turrets, but they immediately start rotating towards the dragon. They're going to play it safe and not go for it, knowing that they have no ultimates ready for it just yet. But they might be returning there and try to get that rotation potential.
Yeah, they didn't know that Jarvan was on the top side of the map. So in a situation like that, you have to assume that every single player is playing to the, I guess, the best of their ability, so they know exactly what the enemy team is doing. So what Mountain thought is that Cloud was going towards the Cloud Dragon, sorry, and there could have been something happening there, but right now we see Cloud all in one bush. It's scary.
The Fnatic brush, staying perfectly still to try to dodge around the Rek'Sai Tremor Sense, not wanting to be seen. They know that somebody wants red buff. Who doesn't like a juicy little red buff, you know?
Yeah.
Instead, they end up sitting there for about 25 seconds and start channeling recalls. Top side of the map looks to be under pressure as the rest of Team Mountain says, nobody's home. Let's take everything that they own.
Exactly. So now, once again, like you just said, they go into Cloud's jungle. They take a blue buff, a very easy one at that. Value as well sees value in this top lane tower, so they're gonna go up there with Winter and try and get the tower. So that just means they get just that much more gold in their pockets already. From a 1k deficit, they're already ahead 3k, which is really, really nice for Team Mountain. If they can use the kills that they got onto their priority carries, which is the Rek'Sai, which is the Tristana, then they can start to really do a whole lot in these fights. Once Tristana gets one reset, just like how we saw in the last fight, she really does pop off.
The power of repositioning, a super useful tool for these AD carry players. But talk to me about how these teams have been playing so far. It seems like we've been seeing a lot of objective base play coming out of Team Mountain, but what can Team Cloud be doing here to try to get themselves back in a controlling position?
Well, with their comp right now, what we see is a whole lot of single target damage. Jarvan can knock up a couple of targets and even one target at that. Linsanity, he has his ultimate that locks down one target. Ashe as well, if you use your feathers correctly, then you can combo a stun in just one wave of feathers as well as one auto attack. And then even League, he can just use his Renekton, the stun, and just stun one target, right? So we're going to really need to see how this team rotates and how they decide to, I guess, pick. And what they did there in the top side in that bush was trying to do exactly that. They tried to get onto one target. They tried to get maybe even onto two targets with the Jarvan EQ, but they couldn't find that opportunity. So we're looking for this opportunity. And I'm curious as well, where exactly is this going to be? And I think that if they travel as one big unit, then they can get that done. We're just going to have to see if they do that.
And they've got the hard engage potential to find that pick. Definitely. I think it's going to be up to Linsanity to reel it in just a little bit, let the J4 make the engage choices for the team, and then he can follow up on whatever target seems the most safe. A lot of this is going to be a vision battle, and you see that Team Mountain scurrying out of the brush as they've been spotted out.
And they're trying to do the exact same thing, because at this point in the game, both teams are looking for the same things. It's just who can do it better. So Team Mountain is trying to do a strat that we've seen all across every single region, where they just stay in that bush, they pink it, and just see if the enemy has vision. If one or two members want to go past the bush, a little overextending, then they'll get caught out. Just like we almost saw just then. But Team Mountain, Team Cloud, they're looking for the exact same thing. They want to get objectives, and they want to try and get some sort of pick.
Definitely true. Malzahar as well as Ashe clearing out this wave. Linsanity and Ashe just pushing up forward here. Fnatic going to be the one to walk forward. Headbutt pulverize into a shockwave combo. Takes out Pyrite before he even gets to take a breath here. Ultimate takes out J4 as well off the back of that one. Nintendo picking up that kill. Nethergrasp getting thrown down on Nintendo to just try to stop even some of this damage. Ashe stepping forward. He's put himself in a very risky situation, but he looks like he wants to capitalize on this when he keeps throwing out feather after feather, barely staying up, not able to stay up at the very end, though, as League is the last member of Team Cloud alive. Flash forward to Root. The headbutt pulverize goes awry. He thinks he's going to be able to make it to base, and he does. The rest of Team Mountain, though, in a position to have their way with this inhibitor and the ensuing turrets behind it as long as they can get in. Righteous Galore getting thrown down by Iron Pyrite, trying to get somebody low. Nintendo X going down, and the ultimate from Janna keeping the health high enough to keep engaging on League. Can he get the stun here on Winter? Connects with it, and it's going to be that damage from the Titanic Hydra getting that extra kill that he wants there. And now Value just walking away out of that situation. They don't net themselves the inhibitor, so it's a fantastic defense from Cloud that opens up another opportunity for them to get a Baron.
And that opportunity, once again, is Baron. They want to try and get this objective so that they can try and come back into this game. Usually what we see with teams that do get Baron is they start to really pop off. It's a fight again.
Yeah, collapse, flash forward to Nethergrasp directly onto Value. It's not going to channel long enough to pick up the kill, and they go back onto this Baron, regardless of them actually being in a position where they can get picked off. You have to remember, as the Baron keeps going, it shreds the magic resist, but Value actually trying to get the shots off in the back line. Good explore, good buster shot to knock back that Renekton. A Blaze Olive taken down just in a little sliver of health that had to be the last tick of the Malefic Visions, as it was on him for quite a while. But regardless, Team Mountain does a fantastic job of deterring Team Cloud away from that Baron buff.
That was so incredibly close on both sides. Originally, the fight was in Mountain's hands, but what we saw there was their health bars were at like 10 or 25% health. They needed to back to base, get what they got, which was a gold value and just spend it so that in the next fight they could win it again and then go for objectives. But what they did there was they went right for objectives. They thought that the enemy team would have been dead for just a little bit longer and that Janna couldn't really do as much as she did. But then we saw League really pop off. He got a double kill and then they initiated for the Baron call. But then off of that, we saw a lot of resets come. So Rodolph came. I believe we saw a value there as well as Winter. They all just went around that Baron, and then they just forced Team Cloud off of that, which was really nice. But Insanity with the pick.
Oh my goodness! Nethergrasp connects from long range. The cleanse comes out, but it's still going to actually do a bit of damage. But look at how high the health is on value. Not having that Nethergrasp could be huge for them in this ensuing team fight. So it's up to Team Mountain to try to find this hard engage. They've still got the ultimate combo with the Alistar and the Orianna, something that we've seen them use previously to get pretty large damage and pretty much execute Iron Pyrite before the damage, before the fight can even begin. And taking out that Janna could be enormous for them if they want to win these extended team fights. Right now, though, it's Team Mountain just controlling the vision around this Baron buff and once again trying to take control of this mid lane top river brush.
Yeah, and the thing that happened there was value. He had to charge up the W, so that's what. There's a little bit of a delay when Tristana just jump away. So that little bit of a delay allowed Linsanity to get in there and then finally use his ultimate onto value. But then it was almost kind of like mid jump value. He used his what is it? It's his QSS, and then once he used it midair, then he just got out of that very quickly. And then he does have some lifesteal on him, so he lifestealed right back up. So that was really nice. A really nice, I guess, very nice aggression out of Insanity, but as well, really nice reactive time by value. So we see both teams really prioritizing this Baron, but Mountain, their vision is just insane around it.
Yeah, they've got so much control here. Linsanity now has Malzahar ultimate back off cooldown, sitting on 30% CDR to make that happen nice and quickly. A Righteous Glory popped by Maokai, but the Janna Tornado just says, no, not today. It does give them the inside track on pushing this mid lane, though, and because of that, blue team is forced to respond, but as a result of that, they pivot towards the Baron buff and once again try to set up the Fnatic brush. They're not gonna,
so close.
They're not going to work. It's not going to work this time, thanks to the vision that's on that other side of the Baron pit. If you can see it right up there. Hey, thanks spectator, giving me the heads up vision switch.
It's like he knew what we were thinking.
Yeah, man. So
awesome.
they know for a fact that they're not actually going on to it. So pushing instead down toward this mid lane turret. They're just going to play around this Baron buff once again, and it's all a dance. Whoever makes the misstep first, whoever steps on the other's toes, is the one to die and open up this objective. But look at the big damage those minions are doing on the bottom side, taking down like a third of the life of that turret over time, forcing Rodolph to go down there and clear that out.
It's so interesting to me what certain moves by certain teams, like as like a team comp as a whole, do to the enemy team's mind. So what we saw there in the mid lane at one point was that Team Mountain, they almost kind of played a mind game with Team Cloud where they, I guess in a sense, took priority of the mid lane. And then what Team Cloud was forced to do was get the heck out of there. So they went towards the bottom side, towards the dragon. But then Team Mountain was like, all right, this is an opportunity for us. Let's run up towards Baron and try and catch the Team Cloud off. But then it didn't work, because there was the ward there. So all of these little moves and all of these little mind games is what it really does take in order to close out some of these games. I want to know what works though, because a lot of bush camps have been coming out, but are any of these bush camps going to work? It worked once before, but I don't know if it's going to work again.
Yeah, now that you've seen it one time in this match, you have to expect that both sides are expecting the enemy to try to perform that gank. So you have to start once again wondering, hey, when is the bush camp going to be relevant, and when do we need to start just posturing on this Baron aggressively and really start trying to push these guys or pull these guys into the pit? Because I think that's going to be the next step that really busts this game wide open, is who starts posturing aggressively. And that being said, there it is. Right away, these guys just start the damage onto the Baron buff, seeing that, hey, the brush cheeses aren't working. We need to change our strategy and look for something that is going to pull these guys even closer out of the base.
And the thing is, Team Mountain is allowed to do that because they have 2 tanks that could have tanked that Baron. Rodolph still have very nice HP. It looks like there's a fight.
Yeah, Maokai ultimate thrown down, immediately going to root up Fnatic, who goes very low on the back line. Nethergrass thrown down on the suppressed Rodolph. He's going to get very low. Finally, the silence of the Malefic Visions takes him out, but look in the middle of the team. League taking the middle of this comp down very, very low. Nintendo escaping very low with his life, though. Baron is still spitting on everybody. Helps assist a kill on League in the side of the pit, and now Nintendo X Mountain and Value and a Blaze Olive are all left limping away from that fight. Fantastically played by Team Cloud.
That was absolutely amazing by Team Cloud, because what they did there is they forced Team Mountain off of it. But since Rodolph was on, I guess he was on 75% HP there in that last fight, so he got melted, not very fast, but faster than he would have obviously if he had high HP. So they could have taken out that tank with ease. Then what Nintendo did was he got into the fight, but then he got 2 into the fight. So Value, he was already low by the end of it, and he couldn't get in there and try and finish off any of the members of Team Cloud. So really nice opportunity from Team Cloud to capitalize onto Team Mountain. So the gold lead's starting to come a lot closer than what it was earlier. We saw almost kind of like a 4K going over for Mountain, but now it's more of a 2K. But that 2K at this point right now, it doesn't really make the huge difference.
Yeah, and a lot of that gold lead is for Team Mountain is sitting in the hands of the people that they want him to. The 80 carry there, Value, has a lot of their damage, and if he goes down early in that battle, it's devastating for the rest of their team fight, especially since the top lane matchup has gone heavily in League's favor, so he's very happy to put the pressure on Value, try to negate as much of that damage as he can, and really make sure that he's the target that is taking the brunt of the damage. Rodolph can't do that well, and not only that, he's facing a Malzahar who's got a tank-killing build going on, so it's very difficult for him to stay alive. Smite goes down, ultimate hopped in here by Fnatic, but he's too little too late. The Nethergrass gets channeled on a Blaze Olive. He's still staying alive. He flashes over the back of the pit to stay up. It's going to be the ultimate out of Ashe, still trying to throw out the feathers, but not going to make it. A huge misstep coming out of Team Cloud, trying to follow up a desperation stop or a desperation steal on this Team Mountain Baron attempt, and Team Mountain just not only gets that Baron buff, but they net 3 kills and turrets to boot.
Exactly, and the reason why a Blaze Olive stayed alive in the last part of that fight was because of Triumph. We haven't really talked about the runes at all here in this cast, but Triumph is a really, really big priority on just basically anybody at this point, just because of how much health and how much gold it gives you. Every single kill and assist you really get.
Fantastic for staying alive in team fights, especially if you get fairly low near the first kill timing. Inhibitor in the mid lane finally goes down at the hands of Mountain Value. These guys going to recall back to base, spend their gold that they've earned from these past objective takes and team fights. But as I was mentioning just before that team fight went down, the reason that Rodolph has typically been having such trouble staying alive in these fights is not only is he nearly 100 farm down over his counterpart League on Team Mountain, but look at the build that Malzahar has. He's fantastic at shredding this front line.
Yeah, he's absolutely crazy in every single fight that we've seen him in. We've seen him in a lot in certain fights. Even if he dies at some point in the fight, he is there for that tank shred. Whoever really tries to get onto his carries, he'll just be there, press his ultimate. Doesn't even matter if he dies, but if he doesn't die, then the AoE is amazing because of his silence, which is a Q, as well as the I think you were telling us the Malefic Visions with his E, and just how much dot damage it does as an ability, just absolutely immense.
Yeah, definitely true. Having that Rylai's Crystal Scepter and Leandri's combo as well, helping him really shred these high health tanks. It's going to be up to Rodolph. He's got the adaptive helm, so hopefully that's going to keep him alive a little bit better against this repeated magic damage. But here comes a little bit of an engage. Jump to the side there by Value. I thought he was going full face first, but he knows better. He's going to stay at a safe distance and just take out this bot lane inner turret. Knock that one down with a lot of Baroned up minions at Team Mountain's back, putting the pressure now on this inhibitor turret. They really want to play the waiting game, but Team Cloud has done a fantastic job of controlling their minion wave, making sure that's pushed out a good distance so that they can wear out enough of this Baron buff and maybe find an advantageous engage, if they group together in a position where Fnatic can get a good Cataclysm. But that being said, Fnatic is not all that tanky. He doesn't have a lot of resistances. The second that he goes in, his life is immediately in danger, and it's going to be up to the Janna here to try to keep him alive in that scenario. So as they push in here on this next wave, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and they really just have to be patient with each of these engages, and Fnatic going in.
Yeah, step forward. Fnatic actually gets the ultimate down. Maokai ultimate starting to roll through. There's the Janna ultimate interrupted by the shockwave out of a Blaze Olive. Now Team Mountain's just staying back, trying to make sure that they just kite backwards towards the safety of the rest of their squad. Flash forward by Ashe, picks up the kill on Rodolph, but the minions are pushing into the base. Two super minions side by side, buffing each other and trying to get into these Nexus turrets. Their bot lane inhibitor turret is very low. They just need a couple shots. Crit lands on the Insanity and chunks him out for so much HP. He's got to back off towards the rest of his Fountain, but look, Mountain's actually disengaging as well. They might have lost a window here where they could have just tanked the rest of that turret and knocked it over. Instead, they're going to play it safe and head back to base.
That was a possibility there, and I think that they're very thankful that they at least got one tower that they can take back to base and just get a couple of items, or at least finish up some of their main items. Now, towards the 36-minute mark is now where we're going to see a lot of the last items come in. A lot of control wards are going to be coming out, so most teams are just going to leave that slot available for it, but the ADC definitely, since he is 6-0 and 6, he really needs to position correctly, so he needs every single piece of utility that he can really get in order to take down some of those main targets. And then one item he definitely needs is what he just got, which was Last Whisper. So with this, now he can start to take down these tanks that are getting onto him. The Jarvan just with ease, even though Jarvan is diving into the back line and he is just dying in a couple of seconds, he can now die even faster with the Last Whisper. Even the Renekton, he's a huge problem if he really does get rolling. And Team Mountain, they just need to prevent that somehow.
Yeah, Last Whisper, the heads-up purchase here by Value on that Tristana. A lot of armor being purchased here by the likes of Team Cloud. We saw the Randuin's Omen finished up by Renekton, as well as an additional chain vest for J4, played by Fnatic. So these guys really just trying to tank up against the likes of this Tristana. Renekton going very deep here. Winter in the middle of the team, trying to see who he can't get onto, but he's really just trying to peel this front line. Fnatic jumps forward and just steps back and jumps back in, flashes back out to the safety of the support, who's doing a fantastic job of healing up. But look at this behemoth. What? Two-man shockwave onto Linsanity and Iron Pirate, taking them very low and making them irrelevant in the rest of the fight. Value in the back line, trying to see if he can't find the execute kills, but can't quite get there. He's needed on the front line. League trying to get away a lot side by side with Fnatic. If they get this kill, he might be able to jump and close the gap onto J4. Not going to find it there. Cleanse out of that stun is going to mean he's going to take out just another shot fairly easily here. Now Fnatic just being kept busy here by Rodolph. It's going to open up a window where Value and Nintendo could push into the enemy base and maybe look for an end. There's 3 members down for the for Team Cloud. One inhibitor in their way as well as 2 turrets. Can they get it?
Beautiful. Yeah, we see that Fnatic is being stopped by Rodolph, but then now you have Value with the double buffs as well as he's just Tristana, so that he can take towers with ease once again. So he's going to be destroying each of these towers. Iron just going to die as well. So already 38 minutes into the game, 13-19 for Team Mountain. They're going to take this game number 1. And that was a really nice game.
Well played here by Team Mountain, and it really showed how clutch, how important objective control is in these matches. These guys had a firm grasp of taking down the turrets, the proper rotation, the Rift Herald control, all that stuff in the early stages of the game, and as a result, they walked away with a fairly clean victory here over Team Cloud. And what are some of the things that we want to be watching for game number 2 as we start getting that set up?
Well, do you want to follow game number 2, or you want to go all game number 1?
Oh, wait, yeah, that's right. We're doing all game. Yeah. Wait, do we want to go into game number 2? I feel like we should go into game number 2. Oh, wait, do they face the same people again?
No, I don't think so. I can check that out. Let me see. What was that? Cloud and Mountain. Cloud and Mountain, Cloud and Mountain. Oh, yeah, they do play. Do they play 3 games together? Game 3. Cloud. Oh, Mountain. Yeah, wait, no.
I think it's just 2.
Know. Mountain, Cloud. I'm not sure, but that was. Do you want to just go over that game?
Yeah, sure.
Sure. But yeah, that game overall was really back and forth, but it was also really close, which is games that I just absolutely love to see, just because overall they're very intense games, and it's really just whoever makes one mistake. And what we saw there was Team Mountain capitalize on most of Team Cloud's mistakes, but then Cloud would kind of come back. But then towards the later parts of the game, Team Mountain, they started to get synergy. They started to really designate a shot caller in a sense, and then that's when finally that person took control and then just started calling the shots, started to really communicate on which objectives to take, and really just went to back and went to not back, because we saw points in that game where teams, they just went back when they would get a certain lead and they just needed to back, as well as Baron being taken by Team Mountain. It was just, they were waiting for that one mini opportunity, and that was towards the 30-minute mark when they really did find it, and then they finally took the Baron, and then that allowed them to get the objectives that they needed to close out the game.
Yeah, definitely true. Like I was saying before, objective control in this game, the most important thing that you can really have in this level of play. Of course, team fighting prowess and that sort of stuff is important, but what you get as a result really determines how important the subsequent team fights are. If you win a team fight and you net 300 gold per person on your team with a double turret take afterwards, because you've managed your mini waves properly and you've got adequate ward coverage and stuff like that, that means that you have such a larger lead in these upcoming team fights, and it means that you don't have to perform as well. You always want to do your best, but it means that there's not as much pressure on you because you've got those additional items. So Team Mountain really flexing their muscles when it comes to punishing mispositionings and punishing after people were caught out, stuff like that, and that's what really netted them that win.
Oh yeah, and then even in the last team fight, from what we've seen, is that Value was left on his own. He was off onto the side when he did get a lot of damage off. There was no, I guess, pressure onto him. So what we saw there in the last fight, I don't know if you want to pull it up, but League and Fnatic, what they did was they dove right, not into the back line, but they dove onto the people who they initially started hitting, and then that allowed Value to finally sneak into the fight and get an easy double kill. And then he finally went back and killed League, and that opened up the opportunity for him and Rek'Sai to get into the base and just obviously destroy the Nexus. So it's almost kind of like League could have taken over the game, but he didn't prioritize the correct targets in the last couple of team fights.
You've also got that Renekton late game scaling coming in. As you get to the later stages of the game on that champion, you start having a lot more difficult time handling these tankier members. So if you can't find those priority targets, he did get, I think, a kill on a Blaze Olive, but the real person who's going to be doing that sustained damage, like you said, in that fight is going to be Value. The issue was that Value had created so much distance with himself from the rest of the team with his rocket jump over the wall into the jungle that he couldn't get that chase down. And that's once again just part of that Renekton disadvantage as it comes to the late game. You have such a hard time killing tankier targets, and you're forced to chase after the squishies in the back of the team, that you do a kind of a poor job protecting your backline as a result, because you're not contesting the enemy tanks. And as you said before, Value finds the capitalization as a result of that aggressive forward Renekton positioning, and is able to really pop that backline nice and easy. So well played in that team fight.
There was definitely a lot in that game that was worth mentioning, but I think that we need to choose an MVP.
An MVP?
Hell yeah.
You're the analyst. You choose it.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, man, you're the guy.
I get all the power. Value.
Really?
He played a really nice game.
Yeah, he played real clean.
I think that there was a lot that was really perfect about his play, and especially in that last team fight, he needed to pop off. And then once he saw that window, he didn't immediately go into the like fight and just full head on. He just waited a little bit as kind of like an assassin ADC, and then finally jumped in and started getting kill after kill. And then he went on to League, killed him, and then him and Nintendo went into the base while Maokai chased Fnatic and stopped him from backing and stopping the potential end of the game. So overall value, played a really, really nice game. So we'll definitely keep an eye on him when we watch the different Team Mountain games.
Very true. Love to see this guy play some more. Definitely looks like he's got that positioning mindset that you like to see on the AD carry player in this level of play. That being said, how do we want to operate this? Because I'm noticing that it looks like there's best of twos or something.
Yeah. So yeah, I was looking on the website, and what they did was they uploaded game 1 and 2 of Cloud versus Mountain, then they did Infernal versus Team Ocean. So those are the 4 teams, and then they switched it up a little bit, and they went Infernal versus Cloud, and then Mountain versus Ocean. Versus Mountain, Cloud, Infernal game 2. So I think that's what we can do. If you want to do what's it called? The game 2 of this, and then we can go on to Team Ocean versus Infernal.
Yeah,
do those 2 games.
It makes sense to keep these guys, clustered together on the same day. So let's go ahead and move into Cloud versus Mountain game 2.
All right.